welcome to Book Sphinx, my booktube channel. Hopefully you'll join me a little often. I don't know how often I'll be posting book reviews, as I do have a kid at home that I'm currently taking care of and a full-time job, so we'll see what it looks like. I do hope to review every couple of weeks and add a new book review or synopsis of the books that I'm currently reading. I do have a lot of books that I have read in this last year, so I'll definitely be going back and trying to review some of the books I've read, because I have definitely found quite a few that I love. So first off, let me start with the title of my channel is Book Sphinx. The reason why I chose this title is because in mythology, the Sphinx is often seen as a creature of wisdom and curiosity, both of which I believe can be found through books. And with that, I'm going to start my very first book, and I'm very excited to introduce The Fear by Natasha Preston. It was published in 2022, this year, and it is a young adult thriller. I absolutely love this book. In fact, I started it yesterday and finished at 3 o'clock this morning. I could not put it down. I was so excited to be reading this text. It is a very easy read, so if you're looking for something that's a little more challenging, I would not recommend it. I also would not recommend it if you don't like a book that doesn't end in a pretty little bow. The way Natasha ends this book is very interesting, and it leaves you with a cliffhanger. And no, there is no sequels in sight, as I found through some research online. So with that stated, let's get started and delve into The Fear by Natasha Preston. So I will start each time with my favorite quotes. Sometimes it'll be a handful, sometimes it might be a little more. These quotes are just things that kind of stuck out to me as I was reading the story. So the first one from The Fear on page 15 is, "The truth is, when death comes, no matter how it comes, it's always scary." On page 81, "What you need to do is work out what makes you happy." And last but certainly not least, on page 166, "Revenge is great, but fear is sweeter." So let's get started with a kind of a synopsis of this book. So this book does end in a cliffhanger, as I told you, and it does not have a sequel. So if you don't like those kind of texts, as I said, you might want to steer away. With that being said, this story is told from two perspectives. One is Fear, the name that is given to our killer, and the other is Izzy, the girl with whom the story revolves around. And so Fear wanted to make that town that he lives in suffer for all the fear and the pain he went through as a child, and no one from town realizing all these issues that he was going through at home, and no one stepping in to help him. And so he created this meme that asked people, what is your biggest fear dying? Like, how would you hate the most to die? And so that's what Fear does. He collects all their fears, and that's how he ends up deciding how to kill them. And so as Fear is trying to kill people, this main character, Izzy, whom I'll talk about in just a moment, is getting closer and closer to figuring out who Fear's real identity is. So what Fear does is that he targets Izzy and those around her who have posted their response to this meme about Fear, a meme that Izzy chose not to repost, which makes it a little bit more challenging for Fear, as he does have a problem with her not posting. And you'll find out more when you read the book. So what he does is that he starts to draw Izzy in, kind of like a spider does with a fly in his web. And that's all I'm going to say about Fear. Let's move over to our other character, Izzy. The other point of view in the story is a teenager. Her name is Izzy. It's her senior year of high school. And what she wants to know is, why did her classmates have to die? And I'm not going to tell you who the kids are that died, because I don't want to ruin that surprise for you in the story. But the closer that Izzy is coming to get to the truth, the more danger she's in, the more danger she faces, the more fear she's put into by the killer. And the killer does multiple things throughout the story to elicit fear from her, and he loves the feel of her fear. And so as Izzy is relying on her friends to help figure out who and why killed her classmates. So by the end of the story, she gets more than she bargains for. And with that, my lovely listeners, today I'm going to end my quick synopsis review of The Fear by Natasha Preston, which I give a 4 out of 5 because of how easy we read, how predictable her text is, but I love how she ends her text and how she leaves her readers wanting more without more coming. And so if you love those kind of stories, if you love young adult thrillers, please don't hesitate to run out and grab a copy of this text. You will enjoy it as much as I do if you love young adult thrillers at all.